going to do is we're going to beat the egg whites. So I am going to pour them in. And I'm going to turn the mixer on. And then we have a quarter cup of sugar that we're going to add. I'm going to put the shield on. And then, okay, I'm not going to yell over the mixer. This is a teaspoon of the cream of tartar. So we're going to beat these. To just briefly say that you can tell that the egg whites are changing. They're becoming solid and they're, let me get this spatula, getting a little bit thicker. So let's keep beating them. Okay, let's take a look at our egg white. It looks really nice and stiff. So I want to talk briefly about the recipe. The recipe says it did not mention the oil or the vanilla being mixed into the wet mixture or folded in with the egg whites. So the oil should have been mixed in with the egg yolks and the cocoa powder and the water. So we're gonna whisk it in now, and we're gonna fold in the vanilla when we mix the egg whites and the egg mixture. So let's take a look at this is the mixture that should have had the oil, And so I'm whisking it in now. I had to do a little bit of comparison because the ingredients clearly state oil and vanilla, and I noticed they weren't in the instructions. So we're whisking this together. And then we have our vanilla. So I'm going to mix this on low. It says fold, so we're gonna have to fold. We are going to have to fold things together. So let's scrape our egg white off of our heater and take it off the mixer. And then what we're going to do is take our vanilla and put it in with the egg white and mix that up. And then we're going to fold the two mixes together. Spatula here to make sure we get everything. So folding it's very specific. It doesn't mean mixing with a hand mixer or an electric mixer. We obviously added air to the egg whites by whipping them, so we created volume. And right now the air is trapped in the egg whites, so we don't want to mix it or agitate it so much that we release that air. So that's why we just want to fold the two mixtures together. So very gracefully we are folding them. And you can see that it's starting to all change to a brown color, which is what we want. And then we are going to put this mixture into our prepared pans that we coated with shortening and then dusted with flour and shook off the excess flour. So again, we don't want to release too much of that trapped air that's in the egg white. So we're going to make sure that we got the very base of this dish, because things collect down there at the bottom, and it looks like we are getting that. You can see the chocolate coming up from the bottom. Okay, so let's put this into our prepared tube pan and bake at 325 for 60 minutes. So again, this pan was coated with shortening and dusted with flour. So we're going to make sure that we try to divide this in half, because this recipe makes 2 cakes. So let's get our other pan. And then we'll be able to compare just to to make sure that we got our mixture divided in half as close as we could. I'm going to use another spatula. Looks like the first one has a more of an aerated mixture. The batter on the bottom of the bowl lost some of its volume already. So it lost some of its air. You can tell it's a little denser. So we're just going to, for the purpose of the fair, we're going to just see which one looks the best when we take it out in an hour. But you can tell there's a difference between the dough on the top, or the batter on the top, and the batter on the bottom. So right now, let's get these in the oven and bake them for an hour at 325. Thank you. Hello, let's check and see how the cakes are doing. If they've pulled away from the edges, oh, it looks like they have, then they're done. So we took the cakes out of the oven, and can you tell which one was the highly aerated cake? I think it would be this one because it has more bounce to it. So we need to let them cool in the pan, and then we'll invert them in about 15 minutes. Thank you for watching my video. Hello, I think what I'm going to do is put the cakes in the refrigerator because I would like them to come out of the cake pan in a cooled state so that they come out with a cleaner look to them, so that they look good for the fair. Normally I wouldn't worry about it because I would be putting a topping on them, but since I'm going to enter one of these in the fair, I'm going to put them in the refrigerator so that they come out of the cake pan and look better. Thank you. Hello, we're now going to take our cakes out of the pans, and this is kind of scary for me. The two-cake pan is a two-piece, so let's see how we do. Okay, this one looks really good. It's smooth and it did not stick. This is the denser of the two cakes. It was the second one out, and at that time it completely looked like it had lost some of its air during the folding. And this is the cake that had more volume, and you can tell that it kept its volume because it's not as level as the second cake. So I'm probably going to enter this one in the fair tomorrow, unless I want to manipulate this one. And I could shave part of the top off of it, but I probably won't, because at this point I think both of the cakes look good, and the competition did not require a topping for the cake or a frosting, so I will just brush a little bit of this flour off and make it look a little better, because ideally you don't want to have a lot of flour. People don't want to bite into a cake that has flour, but I don't want to destroy the surface of the cake, so I might just have to enter it like this. But thank you for watching, and this is the chocolate chiffon cake that I made for the Gittard chocolate cake baking competition. Passion competition. I also got a bag of the most recent dairy-free Gittard extra dark chocolate chips.